Hey guys. All right, so I'm back. This is me just over 1 month post-op bilateral carpal tunnel surgery. Bilateral carpal tunnel release surgery. I should be a pro at saying that by now. So I was going to record a video today about how I had been wrapping my hands. So what happened was, first of all, anytime you have an incision, the key is that you can't get it wet, which obviously restricts what you can do. So like with showering and washing your face and stuff. So, excuse me, because I am the rebel that I am anyways, I like to have my own supplies on hand to rewrap it. So if I take it off because it got wet, because I took a shower, or I was itchy, or I wanted to look at it, or I wanted to take my own stitches out, okay? There's so many reasons why I would want to rewrap my own wound. Also, so here, if you've seen the other videos, it was inpatient for me. We live in South Korea, and so that is typical. And so they changed my dressing like the day I left, and then they had me come back 2 days later to change it again. And then they wanted me to come like every 2 to 3 days, which they always do that here, and I don't really know why. They did it like when my kids have had stitches here and stuff, which I'm like, absolutely not. We're not coming every 2 days for a new Band-Aid. I am expert Band-Aid putter on her. So it was funny because they were like, okay, you can come back here every 2 to 3 days, or if you have a clinic closer by, then you can go there. And I was like, okay. Like, this hospital is like 5 minutes from my house, but I'm like, there's no way I'm scheduling an appointment, coming in and paying you like $50 to change my Band-Aid. So this is what I figured out to work for me. Also, the thing is that when I went back in at 2 weeks, I had taken out my own stitches. That's what they were supposed to be doing at that appointment, taking them out. It was actually like 16 days post-op. I had the bandages on, and they like cut them off to look at my incisions, and they were like, okay. And I'm like, what? They're like, oh, you don't need any like dressing or anything. It's like, no splint, no brace. So I don't know what may be typical for like post-surgery. I know that like for the first 2 weeks, you want to isolate movement of the wrist. So it'd be good to have the support, and maybe after they just want to make sure you are moving. But especially at 3 weeks when I went back to work, I wanted to have some protection. It's just like, it's so multi-purpose. It reminds me I had surgery. It reminds other people I had surgery. It provides a little bit of stability. It provides a little bit of protection on the incision. It is a barrier so that if I'm icing at work, I can just grab an ice pack and just put it there, and then it's enough material in between like a bare ice pack and my wrap. Also, I have continued wrapping. I continued wrapping past when my stitches were out, which is usually when you'd want to stop covering the incision. And I would just do it intermittently because the incisions have been so itchy as they were healing, and it's gotten better. But if you can see, like the skin would just get like really dry. And so I'm gonna try and show you what I figured out. Okay, and remember, I live in Korea, so my products consequently are from Korea, but these are not. I don't think they're super unique. Okay, so the first thing I did was buy this big bag of bandages, which I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna need that many bandages. And joke's on me because this is my second bag. I think I still have some at home. Like, I brought a couple up to school just in case. All right, let's get started. So the first thing is just this ace wrap kind of material. This is, it's 10 centimeters, 4 inches. You never know what system they're using. So the first thing that I realized was that after they told me I didn't have to wrap, like, this is like clumsier and bigger. So I had just planned to basically use this kind of like vet wrap, like athletic, but the compression didn't feel good. And it would eventually, like, you know, when you have something tight on your skin, it kind of digs in, it would eventually feel like that. And so I stopped doing that. And I went back to this, which surprised me because it was just more comfortable. And granted too, it's also winter here. And so like literally it's been like negative 12 degrees Celsius. So like actually below freezing. So I haven't been like hot or sweaty. So it may be different. And the other thing was I could have just put something over the incision, like after I didn't need any support, but my skin just started kind of getting irritated by adhesive. I don't like have an adhesive allergy, but I think once you just are wearing something for a long time, and maybe it's like because it's like that crease part, but it would get like really kind of irritated. So I was like, I don't want anything tight. I don't want anything adhesive. And so that's why I found this magical combination. So what I started doing was I would get this, and I'm sure this is like a standard length, but first of all, you take these little metal clips and you throw them away because they are useless. They're terrible. These are 10 centimeters by 215 centimeters. So I would take it and roll it out, which again, you know, was a fun adventure as I was doing these to my own hands when I like literally couldn't open an AirPods case easily. So it was slow, but I would just like put a show on and wrap them up. And to be fair, my husband could help me, but I'd probably tell him he was doing it wrong because I'm like that. So don't mind doing it myself. So I would literally just fold it in half. It would like drive me a little bit crazy. Oh, and then I cut it at the hospital. So they would like use this kind of wrap in the beginning. And then like if they just had like a little bit left over, they would just cut it and then throw it in the trash. So that was why the first time I got this length, I was like, let's see if I can use half. So then there's never like just trash. Okay. Then the next thing I got, I literally don't know what's this called, but I'm sure you can look it up. So they use this in the hospital. I'll like cut a little slip so you can see, and then I'll cut like, okay, this is like 5 weeks post-op. Scissors are still a little tricky, but not impossible. So it's this kind of like, it's sticky on one side. It's not a Band-Aid. It's like really soft on the other. It sticks really well. At first I thought I would stick this on my skin, which I think you can, but again, it was like that adhesive I did not like. So, okay, I cut my ace bandage in half, and then I would cut about like this much, like a little square. I cut 2 of them so that I'm ready. And then the last piece is, again, Korean. But this is, I'm sure you can get it. It's like, I think, you know, like the pimple patches are really popular now, but this is like the same kind of material, like the healing little like sheet. So it's like this, and it has like a backing on one side. So they come, I think I've like cut like, maybe this is half of it. And so again, like I didn't want to like cut a random shape and then have a part that I couldn't really use. So I've been cutting it like this and then in half, which again, this is not really the shape of my scar. It could have been, I don't know, a different size, but it just was a good size to not waste. So, all right. So I would take this, well, if I still had like my stitches in or anything and I was changing this, I would wash my hands really good with gentle soap and I would dry them really well. Excuse that. I would not use any alcohol or anything. You can talk to your doctor about all of that. Again, I am not a doctor. I am just a rogue patient. So wash them really good. My hands are nice and clean. And then I would peel the backing off. Okay, guys, seriously though, this stuff was game changer. I mentioned it in the other videos, like when my incision was so itchy. So it's like adhesive-ish. I mean, not really. Doesn't irritate me at all. In the days when it was healing, it was closing, it felt so much better. Like literally, like kind of like, you know, if you put it on like a blemish or something, I would wake up and it would just look so much better. So this is how I wrap it. So this was literally all I'd put on. I think in the first few weeks, before I started using this, I would just get sterile gauze and fold it here. And if this, like when the gauze wouldn't, like it's not adhesive and I was doing this by myself, then I would do like a bit of this and I would hold the gauze to my hand like this, which again is hard if you just had surgery, but you can do it. And then I would wrap it around and just do this like literally as loose as possible. Whatever, I'll just cut it to show you. I don't need it to hold this on here. As you saw, it was sticking, but if this was gauze pad, then I would hold it like this. So don't need that. So the cleaning lady is cleaning my door, excuse me. All right, ace bandage again, just because of like my mobility, this is how I would do it. And again, if you just had surgery, your hands are gonna be sore. Maybe you didn't have bilateral, so you have a good one. So I start here, and it was never like about like strong compression. It was just like a little bit of support. So always, always, always make sure it's not too tight, especially when you're swelling and all of that. You never wanna compromise circulation. So I just make sure it was like nice and flat. So I go around like once, and then when I would come over, since it is like on the hand, I like need it to go around the thumb. So I literally just fold the wrap in half and go over the thumb and then spread it back out to go back around my hand, and then go over the top again, and then I would fold it over again. You see, folding this in half to go around my fingers here. And then this last length, I would make sure it comes up flat and it end up like right on my wrist. So you see, this is like not a big, thick, it's not a huge wrap or anything. They may have you in something bigger right after. So then I take the sticker off one side. I mean, honestly, guys, if you have help and you are good at accepting help, it'd be great to ask somebody to do this for you, because even now, my hands will fatigue quickly. So it's good to like get it really stuck on there and then get it back. Like I really want to make sure it's like flat, little particular. And again, I'm just trying to like pull, there we go, the other side of this adhesive. Okay, guys, it just feels so nice. This is so soft, nothing is scratchy, nothing is tight. If this is ever like too high up, I would just tuck it under more. There were sometimes too where like, sometimes I felt like if this fold would move around too much, I would cut another strip of this and like do it in my palm just to give this like loose wrap a little bit more stability. But that's it. It feels really good. I have movement. can wash my little bitty fingers. But this is how I wore my wraps from like probably day 5 to almost a month. After week 2 to 3, I was wearing it for the healing of the scar because it was so dry, so itchy. And then after that, just as needed if I felt like they were achy or I needed to really slow down and remind myself. I don't even know if I should show you again because I don't want to make you sit here and watch me wrap my hands again, but maybe it was hard to see. Again, I did this because I wanted to, not because anybody told me I had to, but it feels so good. These little patches are so good for them. I had even, before I had those, I had done like hand cream and stuff, which like then you're really worried about like if your incision isn't completely, if there's like a tiny part open, like never rub stuff on an open wound, hello. But I feel a lot better about these pads, and they just really help like hold the moisture in your skin. So I really think that's why they look like they do, which is like so mild for just 5 weeks ago. Okay, if you have any questions, or if you're really trying to find one of these things and you can't find it, please let me know and I'll try and find like a similar link for you. This saved me from having to go to the hospital all the time, and it serves me well. And like, this stuff was cheap, like literally cheaper than it would have cost me to go to the doctor one time. And so, okay, I think that's it. I'm gonna try and film another video soon, just like my tips. Like, looking in hindsight, honestly, it feels like so long ago, but it also just was 5 weeks ago. So if you have any specific questions, I'll try and address them there. But thanks for tuning in. Bye.